So DOA quests, I haven't touched on DOA quests very much. If we click on this, what DOA quest is just a series of bars to jump over so that you can get costume parts to, add to your random allocation of costume parts. And obviously this is the pre-patch version where it's just for a random character. So you'll get, maybe you'll click on one and you'll get a character given to you to use. Like for example, there you have to use Yan Li, there you've got to use Zack, Tina, Hayabusa, Ayane, so on and so on. And you'll have a bar to jump over, and there's 3 bars to jump over. So maybe it'll be something like clear this mission in, this amount of time, and you might have a few opponents to beat. And another one might be, I don't know, do 3 low grabs or something, or you get the idea. This feels very much to me and plays very much to me like the tutorials and the combo challenges. Frustrating, bloated, and just basic padding. We also think that because you get costume parts unlocked in the game and you get these points in the game, we think that could be set up for future microtransaction-y DLC sort of stuff. We think that it could be like you might, Tecmo might, or Koei Tecmo might put in an option to buy perhaps a box or something, and you get random stuff like either costume patterns or these coin things. We just think the whole thing seems set up to be monetized, but obviously, we could be wrong. But whatever, this is, I find, an unenjoyable mode, and I find, like I said, padding, bloated sort of stuff. And when you get specific bars to jump over in games as well, as you get sort of further down and things get, tougher against AI, it can get quite annoying, I feel. It's not a mode that I've done very much of as a result. So some of the other unlockables that you're going to get as rewards are just like little things to fill up what's called the DOA encyclopedia, where you get info on DOA. You can also unlock music to obtain, which is costing the in-game coins, if that's your thing. And the music will be from different, DOA games. So it's not just all costume patterns, although largely that's kind of like how it's going down. But there are other things you can unlock. There's not a lot of modes, I don't feel. Story is rubbish in my opinion, and very messy. I think that other DOA games did it more simple, in that you picked a character and went through each character's story. In this one it just seems all higgledy-piggledy, and it just seems a confusing mess. And I'd like to add that 5 was as well, and Dimensions is a bit rubbish as well, I think. So offline modes, not very many. Obviously the lack of tag is unforgivable on mine and my daughter's part, because it's part of our DOA play for years. Training modes, like I say, a couple of good ones, a couple of bad ones, and then you just get your online if that's your thing. So there's not a lot here, and in a review there was a lot to talk about. There was a lot to discuss gameplay wise, and that's one of the things that really disgusts me, is that the opening of the review just was clearly just defined as protect women, women from male oppression, scantily clad, sexist, and all that. Oh, there's a couple of blokes, bare-chested. Women, women, women. Well, what about the game? Talk to us about the game. And that's what I said earlier in one of my other ones. Game Central needs to grow up. Really, it needs to grow the hell up. Some of us out here have had sex, thank you. I've got a daughter. I've done my bit to keep the species going. It reminds me of what is it? The World's End, when Gary King goes up and he does the old thing to his old schoolmate, and he goes, "Have you had sex yet?" And he says, "Yeah, I've got 2 kids." And it's that's kind of the vibe that you get from Game Central. There is that it's almost like this forbidden thing. Actually, a lot of us are adults. Do you know what I mean? And that's what organisms on the planet have to do to keep the species going. It's just ridiculous. And the other thing about that, coming from Game Central and Metro, and this grubby and slightly creepy jibe, is let's not forget that Metro and Game Central run grubby, slightly creepy articles. The other day there was a clickbaity one about Halle Berry being topless in her kitchen. But no, let's attack DOA. Oh no, we can't have the women in video games being portrayed like DOA does. Let's forget Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur and bouncing boobs in other games. Let's not mention King of Fighters or Blaze Blue or anything like that. Let's not mention the oh so precious Bayonetta whose hair comes off and in one of her big attacks and stuff. It's DOA, it's DOA, it's DOA. But at the same time, did you know that when Fallout got released, Pornhub had a slower user rate? So said Game Central, in its grubby, very slightly creepy way. So, which way do you want it, Metro? Which way do you want it? Do you want to run your very grubby stories and do your very hypocritical agenda against DOA and push your narrative, or do you actually want to grow up and get real? And that's kind of the sort of annoyance, is that there was so much to talk about gameplay wise, and yet the reviews started off on the set tone and really didn't deviate throughout all of it. And then it gave the whole, well, it's not a bad fighting game. Yeah, well, actually, if you actually took the time to play DOA, because that's what it came very strongly across to me, is that I don't like this game, I don't really want to do this review, so I'm not really going to play it, so therefore you're not in a position to talk about it, are you? It's like, I'm being objective here, I'm saying what's right and wrong with the game, in my opinion, as I've played it right now. And if I'm reading a review by professional reviewers who that is their profession and that is their job and they get paid for it, I absolutely expect to be reading a informed, objective, unbiased, no agendaed, no narrative driven, objective review about a product. That's what I expect, and I expect no less, and not for any game, not from any company. But apparently it's too much trouble. But hey, you can promote your Pornhub, or you can promote your good little stories about people being caught having sex outside, or Halle Berry being topless, or whatever it is, and then you can swing your other face about and be hypocritical and just have a go at stuff like DOA while giving stuff like Street Fighter high scores when Arminka's boobs being pushed up and out, and this, that and the other. It just makes me sick. Oh, and before I forget, actually, one of the things that I was disgusted about in the Bandai Namco review by Metro was not only were they saying was it problematic to design Ivy's costume. Let's not ask if it's problematic to design Mitsurugi's costume when he's bare-chested and his pectorals are rippling and all that. Let's not bother. But they actually had the gall and audacity and barefaced cheek to push their agenda-driven narrative by asking them if they had any female staff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Bayonetta actually designed by a female? Oh, is that because she's a strong woman, so she gets her kit off and spreads her legs and stuff for all these crop shots and that, but she's a strong woman? What does that mean exactly? I think what it means is you're hypocritical and you push an agenda and a narrative. That's what I think.